We all know the AI revolution is here, but what we don't always think about is what's actually powering it. And the answer is a shocking, world-changing amount of electricity. This isn't just about code anymore. It's about triggering one of the biggest infrastructure projects in history, one that's spilling out of the cloud and into the real world.
I mean, think about it for a second. Every single time you use a chatbot or generate an image or get a recommendation, you are tapping into a massive global network of servers. And those servers are getting really, really hungry for power. So just how hungry are we talking?
Well, here it is, and the difference is just staggering. A regular old-school server rack might pull about 5 to 10 kilowatts, but an AI server rack, the kind packed with all those powerful GPUs, it's guzzling 50, maybe even 100 kilowatts or more. That is a 10-fold increase in power density. This isn't just an upgrade, it's a completely different species of machine. And this incredible new demand is creating a genuine shock to the system. You see, for the last 2 decades, electricity demand in the US has been pretty much flat. We got so good at efficiency that everything balanced out. Well, that long, quiet period is officially over. We are at a massive inflection point, and it's being driven almost entirely by AI. Now, what's really fascinating here is the consensus. I mean, look at this. It's not just one group saying this is happening. You've got the International Energy Agency, you've got Goldman Sachs, the Department of Energy. They all see the exact same thing coming. The numbers might differ a little, but the direction, the trajectory is locked in, and it is pointing straight up. Let's try and make this real for, say, the United States. Just last year, data centers used about 4% of the country's total electricity. Okay, by 2030, that number is expected to triple, potentially hitting 12%. That is a monumental slice of the national energy pie, and all that power has to come from somewhere. And that brings us to the central conflict in this whole story. It's a massive collision between two totally different worlds. You have the digital world of AI, which moves at the speed of light. New models pop up in months. But then you have the physical world of power plants and transmission lines, which moves at the speed of concrete and regulation. This collision is creating one heck of a bottleneck.
So what we're looking at isn't just a normal market cycle. Analysts are calling this a supercycle. And if you're wondering what that is, just think back to the huge infrastructure booms in history. Think about building out the railroads in the 19th century or laying all that fiber optic cable for the internet. AI needs its own physical foundation, and that foundation is the power grid. And this right here, this slide just perfectly captures the mismatch. You've got big tech companies, right? They make billion-dollar decisions every single quarter. But a utility company, it can take them 10 years, maybe even more, just to plan and build a new power plant. Tech needs the juice now, but our grid operates on a totally different clock. So for the first time, really, the biggest roadblock for AI isn't smarter algorithms or more data. It's a physical problem. It's about plugs and wires. It's about getting enough electricity fast enough. This idea of time to power is now the single biggest thing holding back AI's growth. And solving that bottleneck, well, it comes with a price tag that is almost hard to comprehend. We're talking an estimated $5.5 trillion by 2030. Let that sink in for a second. That's trillion with a T. That's more than the entire economy of Japan. And that's not just for the fancy data centers, but for all the power plants and grid upgrades needed to run them. Okay, so the multi-trillion-dollar question is pretty obvious. If we need that much power and we need it yesterday, where on earth is it all going to come from? This is the race to fuel the revolution. But here's the catch, a huge one. AI data centers never sleep. They need constant, steady, reliable power, 24/7, 365. It's what the industry calls baseload power, and that creates a massive challenge because you can't just rely on intermittent sources like solar and wind that only work when the sun is shining or the wind is blowing. So the solution isn't just one thing. It's really shaping up to be a three-pronged approach. First, you've got natural gas. That's the fast, reliable bridge to get power online quickly. Then there's nuclear, which many see as the long-term endgame, massive, carbon-free baseload power. And finally, you have renewables, which are a critical partner, but they need to be paired with huge battery storage systems to be reliable enough. You know that old saying, right? During a gold rush, the best way to make money is to sell picks and shovels. Well, that is exactly the idea here. Beyond just the power plants, there is a whole universe of essential gear and infrastructure that has to be built for this boom. First and foremost, the grid itself.
A huge chunk of the American grid is over 50 years old. We're talking ancient wires and transformers that were never ever designed for this kind of intense, concentrated demand. It means we need a historic investment in new high-voltage power lines just to get the power from point A to point B. Now let's go inside the data center. All that power, all those chips working overtime, they generate an insane amount of heat. Your traditional air conditioning just can't handle it. So we're seeing a fundamental shift to advanced liquid cooling, where fluids are literally piped right to the chips to pull the heat away. It's a whole new industry being born out of pure necessity. And it doesn't stop there. To guarantee that 24/7 uptime, you need an entire ecosystem built around reliability. We're talking about uninterruptible power supplies the size of shipping containers, huge fleets of backup diesel generators, and even things like on-site fuel cells so data centers can just bypass a shaky grid entirely. It's the whole shebang. Okay, so this all sounds like a one-way train, right? But let's pump the brakes for a second. Like any massive investment boom, this is not a sure thing. We have to be clear-eyed about the potential hurdles that could slow this whole supercycle down. There are three big what-ifs to keep an eye on. First, what if the chips themselves just get radically more efficient and end up needing less power? It's possible. Second, what if regulatory red tape and not-in-my-backyard protests just grind the construction of new power lines and plants to a halt? And third, the big question for investors, is this opportunity already priced in? Has everyone already piled in? These are all very real risks. But at the end of the day, I think this quote just sums it all up perfectly. The race to win at AI, it's not just about who has the smartest software anymore. It has become a global infrastructure battle. It's a battle for compute, yes, but just as importantly, it's a battle for power.
So, the AI revolution isn't coming, it's here. And it is demanding, loudly, that we build a physical world that can match its digital ambition. So the question we're all left with is no longer if we're going to build out this massive new infrastructure, but how we're going to do it and who's going to lead the way.